for our Project 72 Duster, I finally found a hood. So we have a 70 Duster hood going our 72, and there's only from looking from the surface, there's a bad spot right here where they layer a couple of pieces. We'll probably have to drill out where one of the bolts help the little hook latch, but otherwise we look like we're in good shape. So what you're looking at is a very dirty hood, so I had a lot of satisfaction in cleaning this up. Oh, by the way, we're going to do a narration style in this video. This is not the usual, so bear with me. Hope you like it. Let me know down in the comments. But we got this hood, 1970 hood from Kyle at RT's Mopar Salvage. He was really good and let me know that a guy that he knew up in Ohio had it. I think he went during the Nationals and did the exchange and got it back to me. And yeah, it sat under a tree for a while, so it was really fun to clean it off. So just a Brillo pad, some soapy water. Mainly that hose did most of the work, but came out really good. And then we saw what we had. I mean, nice white hood, probably been repainted before. And really here we're just placing the scoops on it. It didn't have them originally, obviously, and we need to put the mounting holes on and the air intake holes, which, reminder, they did not come on Dusters at all, ever. They did not have the holes for the intake air. The Demons had it, and that's why they have gaskets and everything for them, but the Dusters did not have them. Twisters, Duster 340s, because Duster 340s didn't have hood scoops on them. Twisters did, but they didn't have the air intake holes. It was just for looks only, but we're going to add the holes. And right here, we're just simply placing perimeters where I did some research and found out where they needed to go. I've seen people put them in weird spots, so I wanted them to look how the factory put them. Now here, that came the hood. I did all that work, and there's the holes for the intake, and it went to Pro Strip Indy in Indianapolis, and they did a great job. After a couple weeks, got the hood back, completely rust-free, with the exception of an area we're going to cut out. But I just simply cleaned the hood up, scuffed it down with some soap and water so we would remove any contaminants that might still be on there from the chemicals and all that. Dried it out and just was going to sand it with some 180 grit sandpaper and hit it with epoxy primer. Now here's our epoxy primer. I always use Nason full epoxy on stuff, and it's really good to work with, good to spray, and seals the metal really good. And like I said before on this channel, and a lot of people tell you, you can put body filler over top of epoxy primer. This one's no different. Here I'm just simply locating dents, because the primer has that sheen to it, so you can get the light on it. That's why I'm kneeling down and stuff and I'm getting the light. But the round circles are for low spots. The X's, I made them for high spots. So I know I can take a body hammer and work those high spots down. And we can use our stud welder, which you'll see here in a moment, and a hammer and dolly in some areas that you can't access, and you can get that stuff a little more in line with what it should be. So there's the studs, many of them in place. That was kind of a gash across there. I pulled a lot of that up, and if you don't get it perfect, that's fine. No, most people don't, but it's within reason so that body filler doesn't have to be as deep or as thick. And here I'm highlighting some of the pinholes, and the worst rust area of the hood is where some metal was lapped together, and over time the condensation got in there, and there was no paint or protection, so that's why that rotted out. The trunk lid you saw me pull out earlier, that was so bad on the underside that it's going to have to get scrapped. So we're going to have to locate another one of those. But as far as the hood, we just had to, find the worst part of the areas here of the hood, of the bracing, and cut it out. And we're just simply making nice square rectangular areas so that we can cut them out quickly and easily and make new patches quickly and easily. And there's a brace under there, that's why that did that, like I explained, and that's the only rust that's really on it left. So a lot of that I buffed it down, put some rust encapsulator on it and some weld through primer, and then there's the old piece. We flattened it out, made a new piece, put the edge on it, and a little bit of fitment, there it goes. And there's our smaller one too, so you know, you can see how badly pitted and ate through that is. And voila, we're welded. We're happy with that. Clean it up a little bit more, the buff and wheel and primer and some filler, we'll be good there. Now what we're using here, got to see that tube I'm holding? And I'm shaking up the can. It's Eastwood brand internal frame coating. This stuff works great because it's got that tube that's really long, probably about 1.5 feet long, and it's got a 360-degree nozzle on there. And you could stick it into the holes in the bracing and cover those areas inside the bracing and the skin that you can't get with the paint gun. So it shoots it in there 360 degrees. You see some of it spurting out there, that greenish color. And I just went all the way up in all the corners, all the bracing, all angles. I used all those little factory holes and openings, and you put it all in there and you drag it out with the finger on the trigger and it covers all that. You see a little mess being made there. It sands easily. It's just like a primer. And it's a rust inhibitor. So all that bare metal up inside of there from being dipped is now covered and coated and protected. Took all of about 25 minutes to do the whole hood like that. Now here we've got some 2K high build primer. I'm just simply, I was explaining it there before I decided to explain it here. But a high build primer, it basically fills in all these areas. Now this underside of the hood had a lot of surface rust, and that surface rust turns into little pits and everything. And there was quite a bit of it in certain areas that will show if you ever open the hood. So I use that, the high build fills those low areas, brings them up to level of steel at the high areas, and then when you go to block it, it brings it all together. Some areas were bad enough that I had to just eventually, and you'll see it here in a moment, go to a body filler and hit what was left. But this stuff does really good, especially for scratches and smaller pits. And I'm kind of just showing you there. This is after spraying the 2K, and you see that pit right there at the end of my finger. If you go to sand that down, it brings, like I described, how it kind of brings the low and the high together because it's filling those little potholes. And this area there that's going to show a little bit. There's no hood pad to cover that, so I'm just going to go over it with some body filler here, and this gave me the result I wanted. We can go through and block sand that, and it looks really good, really smooth. Ready for epoxy primer after we do all the areas we're concerned about here. Sand it, block sand it like we have to do in everything else. And then seal it with epoxy primer and be ready for paint. Now right here, this stuff's a little complicated. It's like a foam. It's 3M 200 milliliter cartridge. It's 08463. It is a flexible foam, and this is to mimic the little gumdrops that you have between your hood bracing and the hood skin that keeps it from that anti-flutter effect that you can have without it, that rattly, tin can sound. So this puts that kind of buffer between them. But the thing is, this has some flexibility. It's that flexible foam so that it won't contort your hood when the hot and the cold sets in, especially on a hot day. If everything's starting to move around, it doesn't warp the hood because you have something crazy like seam sealer or liquid nails in there that's holding the two panels together so solidly that everything else around it moves up and down. So this allows movement between the two panels, as well as holding them together so that they don't rattle and flutter, and when you're either going down the road or you're opening or closing the hood. This stuff's a little hard to deal with. It wants to come out kind of fast, come out kind of messy. It expands, so you have to decide how much you want to place in there with the trigger and what it's going to expand to. with it coming out so fast, that's why I'm moving kind of frantically there. It's because it's wanting to make a mess. It is a little messy. It expands out and it doesn't quite look like the factory, so it's different in that regard, but it does work because it's nice and solid now. I did use all the factory locations. I had them mapped out, and here I am. You see the black mark next to them. I just put them back where the factory did it. In some areas I had to kind of push the hood down to squeeze it under there and let it rest, and then it would go from there. But it won't warp anything and won't set anything off that is in a place that it shouldn't be. So we'll epoxy primer that, and there you go. We're starting to get some color on it. GF3 Amber Sherwood metallic green, 1972. That's what the car was originally, so we're going back to it. Put a couple coats on it here before we mount it on the car, and then we'll probably touch it up later when we get ready to paint the car, scuff it up and paint it for the areas when we had to mount it and move it around and adjust it. But this gets the hardest part of the work done when you do it off the car. So here's the hood currently. We're in block sanding mode on the car, and we just want you to stay tuned, and you're going to see how the hood turns out with the rest of the car. The next video will be about block sanding. It's all going to be here, and we've already done quite a bit of work filler wise and block sanding wise on this hood. So stay tuned, see how it turns out.